So the first insecure habit that's making you look weak, the apology reflex.
I know, I'm sorry.
And if you're from up north, I'll give you a pass on this one. But for the rest of you, if you're saying sorry in front of everything, sorry, I'm just gonna grab this chair. Sorry, can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I'm taking too long. Stop saying you're sorry. Because the reality is, when you are constantly apologizing, you make it look like you believe your presence is a problem. It's like you're literally training people to see you as a person who needs permission to exist. And in the workplace, and this is backed up by research, it just makes you look weak. So, how to flip this habit, how to come off as more confident, replace the apology with ownership or gratitude. I'll take that chair. Let me ask this clearly. Thank you for waiting. The next habit that makes you look weak, you are the permission slip man. You know what I'm talking about, that guy that over-explains about every choice like he's on trial. I know these boots are kind of bold, but I got them on sale. You know, I'm trying to dress better. I'm not drinking tonight because I got some things going on tomorrow, and I know that sounds lame, but yeah, I'm just trying to make some changes. Here's the deal. A lot of people do this nowadays because they fear judgment. The funny thing about this is when you give an explanation when no one asked for one, it almost comes off as suspicious, and you actually invite judgment. So the confident flip here, state your choice, own it, and then move on. Yeah, these boots work for me. I'm not drinking tonight. That's it. You don't need to say anything else. Own it, move on. Now, today's video, gents, is brought to you by our sponsor, Rouge It Ready. Because when it comes to performance in the bedroom, you don't want to have insecurities. Now, gents, Rouge It Ready is a 3-in-1 ED treatment. It works in as little as 15 minutes and it stays active for up to 36 hours. Rouge It Ready combines the active ingredients in both major ED meds plus apomorphine, which, in case if you didn't know, helps to prime your brain for arousal. So with Rouge It Ready, you're getting both the physical blood flow and the mental boost. Oh, and it's sublingual, so it dissolves underneath the tongue and therefore hits your system faster than traditional pills, which is important because there's no waiting around wondering when is it going to kick in. Getting started, gents, is simple. You fill out a quick online medical questionnaire, a licensed medical doctor reviews it within 24 to 48 hours, and if prescribed, it ships to your door in discreet packaging. Plus, you get unlimited follow-ups with your doctor to dial in what works best for you. So to get started, gents, go over to Rougiet, RUGIET.com/RMRS. I'll also put that link down in the description, and when you use it, you get the best deal out there on the web. Again, gents, if you're ready to get your confidence back in the bedroom, go to Rougiet.com/RMRS and you'll get 15% off your order. Rougiet prescriptions are compounded medications available only if prescribed after an online consultation with a licensed clinician. Compounded drugs can be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and have not been reviewed by the FDA for safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing. Individual results may vary. Full safety information is available at Rougiet.com. The next bad habit that makes you look weak, you're a compliment dodger. Seriously, you can't receive any praise without swatting it away. Somebody compliments you on your jacket and you say, oh, that thing, man, I've had it forever. I got it really cheap and on sale. You're complimented on giving that great presentation. Yeah, you know, it was pretty good. I messed up in the middle. Now, here's the thing. A lot of guys do this because they think that they are being humble. But what you're actually doing is you're making the other person who's giving you that compliment manage your discomfort. And the reality is this, when somebody gives a compliment, it is a social gift. When you reject it, you reject the giver, and it actually makes them feel, not very good about even giving it. So the confident flip here is to take that compliment clearly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. I've been working on it. See, it's simple, and both parties feel better. The next insecure habit I want to talk about, the conversation hijacker. You interrupt others because you have to throw in your piece. Yeah. But what you need to understand is this. Let me stop you right here. Here's how it went down. No. You're missing the point. So here's the deal. Occasionally with friends, this is fine. But if you're constantly doing this, especially to look dominant, yeah, initially it can come off that way. But for those in the know, and if it happens again and again, it makes you come off as impatient and unable to control your emotions. So the confidence flip here is simple. Let the man finish and then respond. That's interesting. You make a good point, but I see it differently. I hear you. But my concern is, solid point. Let me build on that. Next up, we've got the hall monitor. You know what I'm talking about? That person that's always correcting others in public so that other people know how smart they are. Actually, that's not how you pronounce it. No. You're holding that wine glass wrong. So the reason this makes you look insecure is this is status grabbing disguised as you holding up a standard. Because for those in the know, a strong man, he has manners. Manners maketh the man. An insecure man, on the other hand, he weaponizes those manners to put himself above others. The confidence flip here is to correct in private. Never do it publicly. Maybe pull them to the side, especially if they're not familiar with the culture, if they're not familiar with the etiquette, with the protocol. This could be something that, hey, you pull them to the side and you let them know about this rule and then let them make the choice to correct or not. Now, this next habit, I know a lot of us have been victims to it, and that's when you meet somebody and they just start to overshare. Seriously, you just met this guy and you already know he's been divorced 3 times, he's gone through 2 bankruptcies, you know his testosterone levels, and he's probably going to have to leave here soon because the host's sister, well, she's got a restraining order against him. Now, that one may be a bit extreme, but a lot of people think that oversharing somehow quickly bonds you, connects you with somebody. And there is some truth to that. Depth can be attractive, but emotional dumping, especially with someone you just met, is not. You see, the psychological feeling of oversharing is somehow that you're becoming more intimate with a person. But to the person on the receiving end, it can make them feel trapped. It can make them feel like they need to get out of there. So the confident flip here is to reveal in layers. This has been a tough season. I'm learning a lot. Now, if the person asks for more, they want to go into more detail, you can slowly start to reveal things. But guys, you don't want to fully unload right at the beginning. God, now come on, let's have a little bit of foreplay. Now, this next one, especially in certain circles, can be really bad, and that is the borrowed status guy. You know what I'm talking about, that guy that comes in and is name dropping every famous person he's met, the fact that he's got connections up on top throughout the company, the fact that he knows tons of very wealthy people, and he tells you again and again. Now, this one, I think to most of us, we know that this one makes the person come off as insecure. It's like they're wearing the success of other people as a cologne. And just like wearing too much cologne, wearing too much jupe, it comes off as desperation. So the confident flip here is to be very careful about mentioning names unless they add to the conversation, they add to the context of what you're talking about, or unless you are open to making an introduction because you see a mutually beneficial connection here. Next up, we've got the me monster. You know what I'm talking about, the guy that every conversation comes right back to him. You start the conversation talking about, hey, I just got back from Italy, and he interrupts and has to start telling you about that time that he was in Rome and what he did and all the stuff that he accomplished. You've got a guy mention that his son just started playing baseball. Well, the me monster jumps in and says, oh yeah, I've got tons of experience playing baseball. Let me tell you the stories about when I almost got recruited by the Reds. Yeah, we all know a guy like this, and the reason this makes him look insecure is because he's trying to prove his relevance, but to the rest of us, we see this as neediness. And the rest of the people in the conversation, they walk away from that conversation feeling unheard. They feel like they didn't get anything from it. And guys, I have to say, even the best of us can fall into this, especially if you are an experienced person, especially if you want to talk about a story that is adjacent to what they're talking about. The key flip, the way to making this come off as you coming off as confident, is to ask a couple questions. Let them expand on the story and then think of a way that you can bring up your experience to add value to what they're saying. Next up, we've got the courtroom debater, the guy that has to win every single argument. He's the guy that says, prove it. You're objectively wrong. Let me explain why your logic fails. You clearly haven't studied this. So here's the deal. You may be a smart guy. You may have a lot of experience and you may win the argument in your head. But just because you win that argument does not mean that you win the room or you win the hearts of others. In fact, other people are going to tune out. They are going to get away from you. And I know some of you guys are saying, come on, what they're saying is blatantly incorrect. That may be true. And I'm not saying you shouldn't disagree. In fact, the confident flip to this is to disagree, but do it in a skillful way that you don't make the other person feel smaller. And that's the key here, is to make both parties be able to walk away from the conversation feeling good about it. Saying something as simple as, you know, that may be true, but my experience is a little bit different. Or what about this? Fair point. But here's the part I struggle with. And you throw them a question which kind of counters their logic and forces them to deeper explain. And if you can't agree, then maybe just wrapping things up with saying, you know what, we're probably not going to agree on this, but let's go get a drink. And of course, let's bring up the guy that is always throwing in the crutch words. You know what I'm talking about, the verbal junk drawer. Like, you know, basically, I guess, kind of. Does that make sense? Now, here's the thing. If you're not a professional speaker, if you are a fast thinker, filler words can be very normal. But too many of them makes a strong idea come off as weaker. And in some cases, you may have developed a habit of throwing in a lot of filler words instead of just slowing things down and being comfortable speaking a little bit slower. And that takes us right to the confidence flip here. Slow down and leverage the power of a pause. Not only is this going to help your speech come off as stronger and more powerful, but it's also going to enable you to become a better communicator, a better speaker, and in general, just be known as somebody that can better get their point across. The next bad habit that's making you look weak, you are a pocket fidgeter. Seriously, you can't stand still. You can't be bored. As soon as you have 10 seconds with nothing going on, you reach in, you grab your phone, and you're on it. Now, you've heard the statistics. Most people in their sleep, they are reaching for their phone hundreds of times a night. Seriously, if you haven't seen the data on this, it's scary. We are addicted to our phones. And the bad part about this, especially when it comes to human presentation, is it makes you look weak. It makes you look nervous. It makes you look fidgety because you're always reaching for something. You've got to have something in your hand. You've got to be checking it, even if it's for half a second. If it's literally you're having a conversation and somebody looks the other way, people are grabbing their phones and pulling them out. Now, I know people out there are going to justify this. Oh, I'm just checking my email. But the reality is it makes it look like you can't handle being alone. You can't stand being bored. You can't stand being alone with your own thoughts. Now, I know for me, a few habit changes help with this. One, I turn off my phone multiple times throughout the day. Yes, I know because my wife has told me you can't always get a hold of me during that time, but you know what? When that phone is off, it's not buzzing. It's not trying to grab my attention. I can be present at my daughter's event or here in the office trying to get deep work done. And that extra step of having to turn on the phone and wait, a few seconds, guess what? That is enough of a barrier that I'm not always reaching for it. I'm kind of breaking that addiction. And that's another thing. I call the phone, especially with my kids, the addiction. Seriously, I think Australia was genius to ban social media because this stuff is designed to draw us in, pull us away from the things that we need to get done from our real lives. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, Antonio, what about style? What items should I avoid that would make me look weak? Guys, I got you covered in that video right here. Come on, if you enjoyed today's video, go check this one out. And if you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, don't stop watching. I got another video, boom, for you right here. Go check it out. Oh, yeah.